What is up, my crafty friends? Welcome back. Today's technique is really simple. You can use it in any way or any style. I did it in a simple way to show you. But first, I'm gonna do a little thing to do a vertical split for my vinyl, and I'm just tracing the bottom of my tumbler on a piece of paper and cutting out that bottom circle so I can fold it in half and know exactly where the center line is on my cup to place my vertical vinyl strip, so I know exactly how long to cut my vinyl. So I just cut that piece of paper, cut it in half, drew the line on the bottom of my cup, and now I know exactly where to place my tape line so it's completely centered for my vinyl. You know what I also realized while I was unboxing and putting away all my cups on my shelf? Every single lid on every type of tumbler has little the engraved marked line on the lid that is completely center. So next time I'm just gonna take that lid, pop it on the cup, and then do my center line off of that lid. Guess things make life a little bit easier for us when we just open our eyes and figure things out. But anyways, I just placed my vinyl on the tape line there and just marked my line where I wanted it to be cut. I didn't match my vinyl exactly to the tape line. I just gave myself a teensy and a little bit of overhang. That way, give myself some room and then cut my vinyl in half. So yeah, go ahead and place your vinyl on, and don't forget when you put your tape down, one side is gonna have a smaller amount of stainless steel showing, one side is gonna have your larger amount of stainless steel showing. Don't place your vinyl on that smaller side, make sure you place it on the larger side of stainless steel. That's gonna be your full half, because your tape covers up some. So don't forget that. I like to place an extra piece of tape just right on the edge of my cut line. Just it gives me an extra secure guide to cut across, so that way I'm cutting a nice straight line while I am trimming the excess vinyl across my cup. And just like that, you have a nice straight edge and a half wrapped vinyl. So go ahead and trim your edges, place those down however you wish. I just went ahead and trimmed the bottom of mine with my, whatever you call those, flat razor trimmer, bottom trimmers, I don't know, and cut the top off, and then go ahead and tape the sides of our vinyl because we're gonna paint the other side. I just put a piece of tape on each vinyl edge because I am just using chalk paint to paint my other side of stainless steel. But if you're gonna go ahead and use spray paint, you're gonna wanna either tape it down fully covering your vinyl, or tape it down and using some clear wrap to cover the vinyl completely so no spray paint goes over on your vinyl. And it did take me 2 coats of paint to cover the stainless steel. For my first layer of glitter and paint, I am doing a 3-way ombre. So I'm just doing pink first, and I want to kind of move quickly, but you know, because I want to keep the paint wet. So I'm doing the pink first, and then the purple, and I'm leaving a small gap where the colors meet, because then I'm going to go in with a little bit of each color on each side of the brush and blend those 2 colors together. So here I have a little bit of pink on one side and a little bit of purple on the other, and I'm just going to blend those together. So you want to keep the paint wet so they blend well, and if it starts drying, just dip your paintbrush back in the paint and wetten it up again, and then they'll start blending together, and then you can go move on to your 3rd color. So I always start at the farthest away part first, get that covered, and then move up and do the same thing. Blend them in together again, and I just use the same paintbrush, dip a little bit of each color in on one side, and blend the 2 colors in. A creator tip is a damp paintbrush to start is your best friend. It will work much better than a dry brush, especially if you're using chalk paint. Chalk paint really works well with the water. So not a soaking wet paintbrush, a damp paintbrush. You can also just achieve this look with acrylic paints. I just really love the effect and the way chalk paint works. Now I'm going to apply my glitter with my favorite adhesive when I need a longer working time, and that is Helios. You've probably heard me talk about it before in another video, and that is because it stays tacky, so it gives you a longer working time and it will not dry up on you before you're done glittering. So let's start out with our bottom in our blue first, and I'm just going to go ahead and cover that whole bottom first. And then we'll just cover our rim. Like if it wasn't our bottom first, it would just be our rim. So cover your rim first. And then we're going to just focus on lightly sprinkling first. So we're going to do a little light sprinkle, I always like to call it, focusing on the rim. And then we're going to keep our cup tilted, still aiming at the rim, giving it a nice light sprinkle to let it sprinkle down. And we're not doing a heavy pour or anything yet. So moving into our pink, covering our rim first, and then we're gonna still keep our cup angled and tilted, and I still keep my hand a little bit farther away from the cup as I'm letting my glitter sprinkle out. So keeping the cup rotating and at a tilt, letting it sprinkle out, focusing my eyes and my glitter to come out at the rim still, and letting it sprinkle down. When you're focusing on just letting the glitter come out on the rim first and letting it sprinkle down, that helps you not get too much glitter where you want just that lighter sprinkle first. So you want it to be a lighter sprinkle and having more gaps. That's why I say focus on the rim and let it sprinkle down. So when I go into my center section, I do just a line in the middle, like as if you were doing your rim. So I do my line in the middle, and then I tilt it, and I still focus on that line in the middle as if it was my rim. And then I let it sprinkle down to the bottom, and then I tilt my cup the other way and let it sprinkle down to the top. So that way that line in the middle is technically my rim. So after you have those first coats down, then go back in with each color and just do a heavier pour, heavier rain of each color over top, and that will fill in any of the gaps and just blend it more together. So make sure you let your adhesive dry that you applied your glitter with before you go and seal the top coat, because we want that undercoat that we applied our glitter with to be completely dry before we apply the top sealer. And I'm not sealing with Helios for the top coat because it does stay tacky, so I'm just using a different adhesive sealer like Crystal X glitter glue or Adhesive Apothecary to seal the top coat. And then after that dries, I went in and epoxied it twice and sanded it until completely smooth, because we want it completely smooth for our next step. And our next step is going to be a peekaboo, because we're going to be doing the double glittered peekaboo. So we want to place our peekaboo stencils on first, and I'm doing like kind of an eyeball, but a guided eyeball method here. I just like laid a couple dots down with a pen and to help me guide where like the center is. So it's like a half eyeballed guide, I guess you could say. I don't know. So I'm placing my peekaboo stencil here that I cut out and just placing that down first, and then we'll go ahead and be applying our glitter on top. And then I just wipe those little line dots off with a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and it comes right off. and we will go ahead and once again just put some tape down on our vinyl lines or wherever we don't want glitter to be next. So tape off whatever you don't want to be painted or glittered next, and apply your paint or spray paint, whatever you want as your base coat of your next glitter choice. And mine is going to be white glitter, so I'm just going to use white paint here and paint this whole section. I did do 2 coats again, and then I'm just going to put down a sealer an adhesive for my glitter. You could also do this the epoxy method, so you could just rub down some epoxy and apply your glitter that way. And after either step that you do, don't forget to peel up your tape and then peel up the peekaboos, which I'm going to show you next. Okay, so we got our glitter down, whatever you used, adhesive or epoxy. We want to go ahead and peel up that peekaboo because we don't want it adhering, especially if you use the epoxy method. You do not want that epoxy drying with those peekaboos on because then you will not be getting them off. So I used adhesive, and if you forget or if you let it dry a little bit longer, it's not the end of the world. It'll just be a little tougher to get off, but not bad. Like, I definitely let this one sit a little bit longer and I still picked them off. Just be careful not to like rip it off. Just go slower and peel your peekaboos off and leave whatever ones you want on, like the center of my A's there, and brush off your excess glitter. Go ahead and give it a seal coat of either spray sealer or again your glitter sealer, and give it your epoxy coat until smooth again, and move into your outlines and you're almost done. I do have a video showing on how to do my offsets like this already for Cricut Design Space. That's the software that I use, and I'll go ahead and link that in the description, and I'll link it above. And it shows you exactly how I do like these offsets, and then like offset your offset to get like the thinner stripes onto your little thin offset strips. So you can watch that if you don't know how to do it yet. And I like to lay mine on parchment paper, leaving a little bit of the sticky transfer paper on the edge so that way that sticks to the cup. And I peeled the transfer paper right off underneath it, or the parchment paper, I'm sorry, right out from underneath it. And that way I'm all lined up and I can still see through it. And you see here how it's kind of a thicker piece and it's not wanting to lay really good on a round surface. Go ahead and take your scissors and just cut all around in between those lines, and it'll help it lay on a round surface the way you want it without wrinkling up. So here's my thinner offset lines. I call it offsetting my offset. And I just used the same vinyl that's on the other side of my cup. I just cut the excess vinyl that I had left over and used that for the same outline here. And I put that on top of the purple. And since these thin letters, they weren't connected like the purple ones were, and I thought these ones were much easier to lay them down separately. So it was a lot easier to do them separate than to try to do it in a whole one piece like the purple ones. And then for my vinyl strips, for the thicker center one, I did 0.15 on a textured vinyl in silver. And then the thinner ones, I did 0.09, and I just repeat it on the other side. And then for the bottom, I originally started with putting down this nail tape, but then I realized like when I went to go quick coat it or, then epoxy it, it wasn't sticking and it kept lifting. So I took the nail tape off and I put down just like a holographic vinyl in a similar color, and that stuck much better. And I cut that holographic vinyl in, I want to say like 0.07, like one of the smaller lines, like 0.07 or 0.05, something like that. And the holographic vinyl stuck to that smaller space on the bottom a lot better than the nail tape did. So I'll just kept it in here to show you how I placed it on, because I placed it on the same way. And then once you're done, just go ahead and seal your vinyl down with, I like to use quick coat, and then epoxy it till smooth and show off your beautiful work. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments, because I really truly love hearing from you, and I love chatting back because it really makes doing this so much more meaningful, and I love to connect, and I really appreciate everyone who watches and takes the time to watch any of my videos. So I love all the comments and I read every single one of them. Also, if there's something that you want to see or a technique, let me know, because I'll take note of it and get something out for you. So I hope you have a great day, and thanks again for watching.